Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hope your day and your week are going well so far. We've got a new day, which of course means a new NBA player prop video to share with you guys. I've got nine picks, count them, for tonight's slate that I am very excited to hand out. But first, as always, guys, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, drop a comment down below, all that good stuff. We are on the road to 100,000 subscribers. When you hit that subscribe button down below, we get there just a little bit sooner. Also, make sure to comment hashtag ride of the day to see your potential pick in the pinned comment along with the rest of the picks for today's slate. Quick little recap of last night. We did, after a really rough Monday, we came back yesterday in cash. We went 3-4 yesterday. Now, I know it's not a massive cash, but remember the Jordan Poole prop was a plus money bet, so it was a pretty good hit. So we did cash yesterday. We were profitable on our picks overall yesterday. You see that Jordan Poole pick was great. And you look at the misses, they were tough. Like Victor Wembanyama, we had him over 24.5 points. He finishes with 23. He took enough shots to get to 25 points, but just had a rough shooting night. Although an incredible game for Wemby. Watching his highlights are really an incredible thing. Van Vliet had 5 assists, just missed the mark by a little bit. And De'Aaron Fox, he had 20 points and took a bunch of shots. Again, kind of similar to Wemby. Had enough shots to hit that spot, just was not a great shooting night for De'Aaron Fox. Even late in the game when it was already a blowout and the game was already decided, he kept shooting, but unfortunately, he did not hit. Still overall a solid night, and it's nice to get a win after a couple, a rough day Monday, kind of a rough day Saturday on our props. Really nice to get back in the winning column there with some hits today. We got 9 props for today's slate. Let's not waste any time, guys. Let's dive right in. Switch this over to the Outlier screen, guys. You don't know what Outlier is. They are the best sports betting tool on the market right now and the sponsor of today's video. There's a special link in the description below, 7-day free trial to check it out for yourself. I'm telling you guys, Outlier really is the best. If you've watched my videos, you know the information it gives you. It really does help paint the picture of what you should be taking with your props. Helps you make those choices, and maybe makes you stay away from a choice you were going to make. It's really good, and you got nothing to lose here. You try it for 7 days. You don't like it, you quit. You like it, you stay subscribed, and you keep winning money on your bets. So one more time, guys, link in the description below, 7-day free trial. Check it out for yourself. First game, we have 3 props actually coming from this Lakers-Wizards game, which kicks off at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're going with D'Angelo Russell of the Lakers over 23.5 points plus assists for our first prop. This prop's available on most sports, but we're getting it for minus 120 odds here on DraftKings. You see here the data is pretty strong. 6 of his last 10 games, he's cashed this over. He's averaging over his last 10 games 25.6 points plus assists per game. You stretch that data to his last 14 of his last 20 games, a 70% hit rate. He's cashed it in an average of 26.6 points per game. Again, 70% hit rate over the last 20 games. And on the year as a whole, a 55% hit rate, 39 out of 71 games this year. D'Angelo Russell has cashed this over with an average of 24.46 points plus assists per game. You see there early in the year was where a lot of the misses were coming from, but since January 11th, from that point on, you see the green there across the board for Russell. Since January 11th, he has really, even back to early January 11th, I would say. From that point on, it's just been a green machine. Only a couple misses here and there for him. And now look, you look at the Lakers are on a back-to-back. You look at the point spread. They are 12.5-point favorites tonight. Now, normally you would want to shy away and say maybe it's a blowout. Why are they going to play Russell? Here's the thing, though, with the Lakers they need these wins because they are in that play-in tournament spot where they can't afford to lose games. They need those wins to help them with the seeding, to make sure they stay in the play-in tournament and help them get into the playoffs. So the Lakers, every game the rest of the year, they have something to play for. And look, D'Lo is not like LeBron, where he's old or pushing 40 and needs a break. He's not like Anthony Davis, where he's super injury prone. If there's a guy who's going to play a ton of minutes, regardless of the matchup, regardless of the blowout, I think D'Angelo Russell is good to play a ton of minutes in this game. He's only faced off with Washington once this year, but in that one matchup back on February 29th, he had 22 points and 5 assists and was an overtime win for the Lakers. Washington is kind of in shambles right now. You see here all these. Now, they're all listed as game time decisions, but just to let you guys know, Shamet didn't play last night. Kuzma didn't play last night. Jones didn't play last night. Marvin Bagley got hurt last night. My assumption is most of those guys are not going to play again tonight. So the Wizards are going to be really banged up here. I think it's a solid match. Look at overall defensively, Washington, the worst defensive team in the NBA on the season in terms of points allowed, giving up almost 123 points per game to opposing teams. They are second worst team in the NBA. And assists allowed, giving up 29 assists per game here. You look at versus point guards in the year, bottom 6 giving up 25 points per game, and bottom 3 in assists allowed to point guards, giving up just shy of 10 assists per game. If you narrow that data down to the last 7 games, the Wizards have actually been a little bit better. They're averaging 22 points, and let me just double check here. They're giving up 22 points and 6 assists per game to opposing point guards. So they are actually been playing a little bit better of late. They're still bottom half of the league, about middle of the road, bottom half of the league in points led over the last 7 games versus point guards. So they are playing a little bit better, but still not a great mark for the Wizards. Still, I think overall a solid matchup for us. When D'Angelo Russell plays at least 30 minutes per game this year, he cashes at a 68% hit rate. 32 out of 47 games this year where he's played at least 30 minutes, he's cashed the over, averaging 27.66 points plus assists per game. I think he does play at least 30 minutes in this game, and with that being said, you see the data there, it's pretty strong. So I like this for the first prop of today's slate. This game has the highest over-under of any game in today's slate. The over-under right now is set at 233.5, so expect a lot of points in this matchup. The second prop in today's slate, we're going to the Wizards side now. Now we're going Jordan Poole of the Wizards, of course, over 6.5 assists. We're getting this for minus 120 odds on DraftKings. Last night, again, second night of a back-to-back, but last night he had 13 assists in what was a shocking upset win for the Wizards against Milwaukee. So, yeah, I know the Lakers are 12.5-point favorites, but you never know with these teams, especially late in the season, because now they're playing a bunch of guys who have nothing to lose, all these young guys who are fighting for a chance to be in the NBA. These teams can sometimes be the most dangerous teams, although on the season, again, the numbers aren't great. Washington, a lot of these guys are just fighting for a chance to be in the league at this point. And so they're playing harder, and I think Milwaukee last night got caught in that. His last 2 games, you see here, he's cashed the over in assists. If we narrow this view down to the last 5 games, you see he's cashed it. In 3 of his last 5, he has a couple close misses there. But look at the potential assists. He's averaging 14 potential assists per game over the last 5 games and 36 minutes per game. So with all the injuries, Jordan Poole's been forced to play more minutes, to have more. His usage rate's been very high. His touches, his passes, everything has been significantly higher due to all the injuries. And so the numbers are going up significantly. You look at the Lakers here versus point guards. They are bottom half of the league in assists allowed, giving up 8.7 to point guards. And versus shooting guards, they are bottom 9, giving up 6.6 assists per game. You narrow that view down over the last 7 games, the Lakers give up the 5th most assists in the NBA to opposing point guards, giving up 11 assists per game. And versus shooting guards, they are giving up the 2nd most assists per game over the last 7 games, 7.52 assists per game. So guards have been giving up a lot of assists on the Lakers over the last 7 games. I think Jordan Poole sticks with that trend here for the second prop of today's slate. All right, guys, our third and final prop from this game, our third overall prop in today's slate, we're sticking, again, Lakers-Wizards. We're going to Anthony Davis now of the Lakers, over 27.5 points plus assists. This prop's available on virtually every sportsbook. We're going to get on DraftKings for minus 125 odds. Here you see 4 of the last 10 games he's cashed the over. This is a little bit of an inflated line here, but you see he's barely missed the mark. He's close to it in almost every game. And look, although recently it hasn't been great, overall on the year, a 58% hit rate, 42 out of 72 games he's cashed the over. He's averaging 28.4 points plus assists per game. It's actually crazy how many games Anthony Davis has played this year. I think this might be the most games he's played in a season since his Pelicans days, honestly. That's what it feels like, at least. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it feels like he's playing in a ton of games for the Lakers this year, which is a nice thing to see here for Davis. Looking at the head-to-head matchup, each of the last 2 times he's faced off with the Wizards, he's cashed his over, including the one time they played this year. Back on February 29th, he had 40 points and 4 assists in an overtime win versus the Wizards. Again, the Wizards are really banged up down low. They didn't have much to begin with, but no Kuzma. Now Bagley's hurt. They really don't have a lot of size down low. Versus centers, they're the 2nd worst defense in the NBA, giving up 22 points per game. And versus power forwards, although it says they're slightly better, they're still overall a middle-of-the-road team versus power forwards. With all these injuries, though, it makes it a lot more difficult. I think this is a great matchup for AD. Again, these guys need to play minutes because the Lakers need to guarantee themselves a win here. They can't play around. They're going to need Davis to score. Even if he only plays like 25 minutes in a matchup as good as this one, where you have so many guys for Washington out, I think Davis eats in this matchup, even if he only plays like 25 minutes, which I think he's guaranteed to play at least 25 minutes. I think he'll be good to cash here in this match. I think he's going to eat in this matchup. All right, guys, finally moving on from that game, our 4th prop overall for today's slate. We're going to the Thunder-Celtics game, 7:30 p.m. tip-off. We're going Kristaps Porzingis of the Boston Celtics, over 21.5 points plus assists. It's available on these 4 sportsbooks. We're getting this for minus 125 odds on DraftKings here. You see he's cashed in 6 of his last 10 games. A couple of close misses there. If you're putting this in a parlay, not a horrible idea to maybe take a little bit of an alternate line here. Go to 19.5. I know it's minus 250, but you see the data jump significantly. If you're looking to throw like a high odd bet in your parlay here, again, we're going with the over 21.5. Cash 6 of his last 10 games, averaging 22.7 points plus assists per game. Stretch the data to his last 20, 12 out of 20, 60% hit rate, not bad. 23.45 points plus assists per game. On the year, a 55% hit rate, 29 out of 53 games he's cashed the over, averaging 22.23 points plus assists per game. Look at the head-to-head matchup. The last time he faced off with the Thunder back on January 2nd, he had 34 points and 2 assists. And look, this is all matchup for me. This is the reason why I'm taking Porzingis here. It's all based on the matchup. The Thunder, if the one thing that's been true all year with this team, they struggle with size, and Porzingis is a mismatch for them. You see here versus centers on the year, the Thunder, they are bottom half of the league, giving up almost 19 points per game. The third worst team in assists allowed, giving up 4 assists per game to opposing centers. Add in the fact that Jaylen Brown is a game-time decision, and I'm going to operate under the assumption he's not going to play. But just to show you guys in case, you guys are on the fence, maybe you'll wait a little bit on this pick. Although the longer you wait, probably the line will jump a little bit here. This season, without Jaylen Brown, a 60% hit rate. 3 out of 5 games without Jaylen. He has cashed the over. He's had some pretty big games there without Jaylen Brown. And so that is something to take in consideration if he doesn't play. It's not a massive jump in the data, but it is something to look at. I do like the spot for Porzingis, so this matchup is too good not to take. And again, this is one of the higher point totals of the day. I think the over-under, let's see what it is currently at right now. The over-under for this game is currently set at 231.5. So it's a pretty high point total. They're expecting points. I think quite a few of those points will probably come from Porzingis. It's so crazy to me that we have Kristaps Porzingis. As a Celtics fan, it's crazy that we have him. He's been such a great player. I know he hasn't played a ton this year. I mean, he's played 53 games. But, he scares me with all the injuries and stuff in the history with him. But he's been such a fun player. Love having Dingus Pingus on the Celtics. Our fifth prop from today's slate, guys. By the way, go ahead and comment 12 down below in the comment section if you made it this far in the video. We're about to hit the 12-minute mark in the video. Our fifth prop from today's slate, we're going with the Blazers-Hornets game, 7 p.m. tip-off. DeAndre Ayton of the Portland Trail Blazers, over 36.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. It's available on most sportsbooks. We're getting it for -120 on DraftKings. Of course, not available on FanDuel. Not too surprising there. You look at over his last 10 games. 5 of his last 10, he's cashed this over, averaging 35.9 points plus rebounds plus assists per game there. You look at the head-to-head matchup. The last time he faced off with the Hornets back on February 25th, he had 26 points, 19 rebounds, and 2 assists in what was a massive win. A massive win for him, I should say. The Hornets actually won by 13. I know you see a lot of red here. The data's not great. This is an elevated line, of course. This is all about matchup here. Overall, the Hornets, you see here, a lot of green for us. And versus centers, they're the second worst defense in the NBA on the season in terms of points allowed, giving up 20 points per game. And they're bottom 4 rebounds allowed, giving up 13 rebounds per game. We narrowed that data down to the last 7, and it's not good. The Hornets are giving up 30 points per game over the last 7 games to opposing centers, and they're giving up about 15 rebounds per game to opposing centers. So really not good. A really bad spot there for the Hornets in terms of their defense, but really good for us in our matchup here with DeAndre. And he did cash this the last time they played. He crushed the line, actually, the last time they played. I think he'll take full advantage of the matchup again and cash this over. All right, guys, sixth prop of today's slate. We're going Pacers-Nets. This game has a high point total, and there's so much that I like, but I feel like these two teams, the Nets and the Pacers, have screwed me so much this year that there's so many things that I was looking at. I was looking at Cam Thomas, Halliburton, all these players who, high point total. These are two defenses that are not very. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to get tricked into it. I'm not taking these players anymore. We're going to go with Miles Turner under 14.5 points plus assists because the data is pretty good on it. Now, look, off the bat, I'll tell you guys, on the season, it's not great. 37% hit rate on this under, 27 out of 73 games. He's cashed the under. He's cashed the over more than he has cashed the under, but he always last 10 games, he's cashed the under. In 7 of his last 10 games, he stretched it out to his last 20. And you see here, 12 of his last 20, 60% hit rate. Over his last 10 games, though, he's averaging 15.7 points plus assists per game. Again, we have the under at 14.5. Look, he's always close, and that's the key thing here. He's always close, but you look at the head-to-head matchup here. 3 of the last 5 times he's faced off with the Nets, he's cashed the under, including the last 2 times they played. On March 1st, the last time they played, and it was a 22-point win for the Pacers, just 9 points and 0 assists. The time before that, on March 16th, he had 11 points and 1 assist. So both times he's played them this year, he's cashed the under, and it makes sense. Brooklyn on the year, you see here, they are a top 5 team defensively in terms of points allowed to opposing centers, and top 10 defensively in terms of assists allowed to opposing centers. And that doesn't really change when you narrow the data. Over the last 7 games, Brooklyn's still top 10 in both points and assists allowed to opposing centers. So it's a really solid spot here for Brooklyn. They've been really good. Nick Claxton's been holding it down. And it's not like the Pacers really look to Miles Turner to carry them offensively anyways. They basically just look for him to rebound and play defense. So we're getting it from -105 on DraftKings. Solid value. Kind of a risky spot? Absolutely, because you see here, he's always teetering close on the line. But I do like the spot here for Miles Turner. All right, guys, 3 props left in today's slate. Our 7th prop on tonight's slate. We're going with the Pistons, Hawks. Yes, I'm going to take him again. Cade Cunningham over 11.5 rebounds plus assists. We're getting this for -115 on DraftKings. It is available virtually everywhere. He has cashed this in 8 of his last 10 games. He's been playing pretty well, averaging 12.8 rebounds plus assists per game. He's cashing this on a 58% hit rate this year. 36 out of 62 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 11.81 rebounds plus assists per game. You look at the head-to-head data. Each of the last 4 times he's faced off with Atlanta, including both times this year, he has cashed this over. And look, it makes sense. On the year, the Hawks are bottom 5 in the NBA in both rebounds allowed and assists allowed to opposing point guards. Cade Cunningham, he specializes in this kind of thing. He is a game-time decision. I don't know if he's going to play or not, to be honest. Right now, he's got a knee thing. If he does play, I like the spot here. Again, remember, guys, if you take it and he doesn't play, they're just going to void it off your sportsbook anyways. I think even with the knee injury, I think he'll cash this if he does play. Obviously, again, he's a game-time decision. It's something to keep in mind here. But I do like the spot here for Cade Cunningham in this matchup versus a Hawks team that's not very good. All right, guys, our 8th prop of today's slate, getting a little ahead of myself there. We're going with the Magic Pelicans game, 8 p.m. tip-off. We're going Zion Williamson of the Pelicans under 33.5 points plus rebounds. We're getting this for -125 on DraftKings, available on Underdog, DraftKings, BetMGM, and Caesars here. You see here, he has cashed this only 4 of his last 10 games. He's been on a little bit of a hot streak. Obviously, Brandon Ingram being out, they look to him to kind of run the offense a little bit more. You see, even when he cashes it, it's very, very close here. This is all about the defensive matchup, though. You look at his last 20, he's cashed in 12 of his last 20 games, a 60% hit rate. And on the year as a total, a 73% hit rate on the under. 47 out of 64 games he's cashed his under. Again, it's an elevated line because there is no Brandon Ingram. You look at the injuries for New Orleans there. No Brandon Ingram, no Jose Alvarado. So, of course, with Ingram being out, Alvarado not so much, more Ingram. With Ingram being out, obviously he has to take more of the mantle on offense here. But this is all about the matchup here, guys. You look at the last time he played Orlando, back on March 21st, not too long ago when Brandon Ingram was still out, by the way. They had no BI that game either. He had 20 points and 7 rebounds and was a 15-point loss for New Orleans there. The Magic, have been balling lately. I think they're the best defensive team in the NBA. If they're not the best, they're definitely in the conversation for the best here. You see overall in the year, top 3 defense in terms of points allowed, number 1 team in terms of rebounds allowed, and versus power forwards, it's just the same, top 5 in both points allowed and rebounds allowed defensively. They're a solid team. They held Zion down last time. I think they'll do it again here. Pretty low point total here in this game too. So I like the spot here for Zion. I know betting Zion's under, people get scared, but I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the chance. And guys, the 9th and final prop of today's slate, we're going to the Cavs-Suns game, 10 p.m. tip-off. Jusuf Nurkic of the Suns, under 15.5 points plus assists. We're getting this for -125 on DraftKings. This one's actually available on virtually every sportsbook available. Look, guys, he's cashed it in 9 of his last 10 games. He did cash a big one the other night against New Orleans. But no one looks at Nurkic as the offensive focal point of the Suns team here. You look at the last 20 games, a 75% hit rate, 15 of his last 20. And on the 2023 season as a whole, a 59% hit rate, 41 out of 70 games he has cashed this under. There's not really any injuries affecting this matchup, guys. What I'm really looking here is the defensive matchup here. Jared Allen is one of the top 5 highest defensive rated centers in the NBA this season. You look at the year total for the Cavs. They are top 10 in both points allowed and assists allowed versus opposing centers. You also have Evan Mobley down there, too, who helps cover. Look, I just don't see how Nurkic scores in this matchup. I think Jared Allen and Evan Mobley will hold him steadily low. If you're going to attack the Cavs, attack them from, with Booker, with Durant, with Beal, with even Grayson Allen. You're not going to attack them with Nurkic. He doesn't really get that many assists to begin with. But also with points. They don't look for him to score all that much. I know his last game, again, the other night, he had a pretty big game. He had 19 points and 4 assists versus New Orleans, but that's New Orleans. You're going up against Jonas Valanciunas, Larry Nance Jr., and, Matt Ryan. You know what I mean? The defensive difference between those guys and Jared Allen and Evan Mobley is totally different here. So I do like the spot. Again, the data is strong, green across the board. And look at the head-to-head matchup. The last time he played the Cavs on March 11th, he had 9 points and 0 assists, and what was a 6-point win for Phoenix there. So I like the spot here for Jusuf Nurkic under 15.5 points plus assists. So, guys, that is it for me today. All 9 picks. I will post the outlier link in the pinned comment along with the hashtag ride of the day. Thank you guys very much for always as watching. Make sure hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, drop a comment down below. All that good stuff. I will be back tomorrow with a new NBA player prop video. Until then, I hope we're all winners. Have a good one, guys.